Welcome to ExcelBerry. In this video, you will learn about the if and the newer version ifs function in Excel. And they are two logical functions that evaluate whether or not a condition is true, and if it's true, something will happen, and if it's not true, something else will happen. So for example, if you have a list of berries and quantities and want to check whether or not it's above 25,000 and have a yes if it's above and a no if it's not above, then you could use the if function. So in this video, you learn about these two functions. So if and ifs. So they check whether a condition is met, and if the condition is met, one value will be returned. Otherwise, another value is returned. The ifs function, however, evaluate conditions one after another and only have if true. So you evaluate one thing, and if it's true, something will happen. If it's not true, then you evaluate another condition, checks whether it's true, and you do that as many times as you want. So the syntax for the function is, for the if function, is that you evaluate one time whether or not something is true. If it's true, then what will be returned? Otherwise, if it's not true, if it's false, what will happen then? And as I said, the ifs function only evaluates if something is true, and then it goes to the next one. So let's try it here. So we have our berries and quantities, and we want to check whether or not the cell here in the C column is about 25,000. So we go to the D column, write our if statement, press on tab to get the parentheses, and then we check whether or not the C3 value is above, and now we write 25,000. So the C3, we will copy the cell down so we don't need to make it absolute, and 25,000 is hard written, so we don't need to do anything with this one. And then we go to the second argument, is what should happen if it's about 25,000, and then we want it to be written yes, and we do that in quotation marks, always quotation marks when you write text in a formula. So we write yes in quotation marks, and then go to this third argument, what should happen if it's false, then we want to write no. Let's make it in capital letter and then close the bracket. So this is not about 23,000, and if we copy it down, fill it down without the formatting, so not about, not above, 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 not above. So that's how the if function works. So you evaluate whether or not a statement is true, and then if it's true, then something is returned. If it's false, then something else is returned. The ifs function does the same thing. So ifs, let's see if this one is above 25,000, and if it is, then we write yes. But here, if we go to the third argument, it's another logical test. So if it's not above 25,000, then it will go to the next logical argument. Before the ifs function came, you needed to make a new if function if the first if function was evaluated as false. And there you could write if, and then Microsoft found out that, oh, we need a new function for this one. In this case, we don't need to write anything else. We can just close it, and it will be an error for all the cells that doesn't evaluate as true. So that's how the ifs function works. And I have a couple of advice. So as you saw here, we had error messages. What you can do with the ifs function is that as a logical test, you can write true. That's actually a function in Excel that always evaluates true. So the second logical test will automatically be evaluated as true. And then you go to what should happen if this logical test is evaluated true, which is always will be. if none of the previous one will be evaluated true, and here you can write no. So now it will be no here instead for all these cells that otherwise would have an error message. So that's one advice. And also it's quite common that you use either the AND function or the OR function together to evaluate multiple conditions for a true statement. So if you want to see whether or not it's both above 25,000 and starts with an S, then you can do it with an AND function. So if, and then you make an AND, so you want to evaluate multiple logical statements. So if this one is above 25,000, and then you go to the second logical test, and now you want to start with an S, so the first letter, so a left function, the text over here, the first character equal an S. And then we close the AND function, go to our what if it's true, value if true, then we write yes, otherwise we write no. So if and, so multiple conditions need to be evaluated true, and the multiple conditions are C3 is about 25,000 and the first cell in the B3 is an S, then it's yes, otherwise it's no. And we press on OK, and we copy this one to down. So if we change blueberry to slewberry, it will be yes here. And the OR statement is that either one of the arguments is. So if we change AND to OR, then we will see that this one is also yes because the berry starts with an S. So that's a bonus in this video, that you also learned about the AND the OR function that you sometimes use with the if and ifs functions. So that's all I wanted to share with you in this video. Subscribe to my channel if you want to learn even more in Excel, like if you learned something, and go my course on excelberry.com. Thank you.